I always wondered if the world of Splatoon also has like real guns in there as well. Anyway, let's talk about Splatoon. Again, I really want to talk about Splatoon for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I just love the world. I haven't played Splatoon in like a year or two. I just want to talk about it again. Also, before we begin, I would love to remind you guys to please like and subscribe. If we hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year, I will do a very special live stream dissecting the game design behind the most disappointing game I have ever played. Also, comment something. I really want to start a discussion with my videos. That said, let's get back into the actual topic of the video. And I'm not like that like excited for Splatoon 3. It looks fine, but it just looks very similar. So I'm not really sure why I want to talk about Splatoon. Anyways, I wanted to talk about I do love the world. I do love the world of Splatoon, and I do kind of want to expand it. I love the games as they are, but I want to see more of that world. I want to see more of those characters. And what a better way to do that than make a spin-off of Splatoon? And that is the topic of the video, if you couldn't read the title. By the way, this video is going to be divided into like two segments. First, we will discuss like the likelihood of Nintendo making a spin-off out of Splatoon, and when might we expect such a spin-off to happen. And in the second part, we will have kind of a discussion of a few ideas that could work for a Splatoon spin-off. These are just like random ideas. It could be basically anything. But yes, that's it. Let's get started with the first part. So how likely is it that Splatoon will even get a spin-off in the first place? I don't see Nintendo making that many spin-offs nowadays, but I do think Splatoon is kind of likely. A lot of Nintendo franchises have had spin-offs. We have Fire Emblem that has like Fire Emblem Warriors and Fire Emblem Heroes for the mobile. Animal Crossing even has a few. Then of course like Mario and Zelda, of course, and Pokemon if you count that as a Nintendo franchise. But a lot of them do have spin-off games, even like some of the smaller ones or less known IPs like Pikmin has Hey Pikmin. So I do think, oh, and Pikmin Bloom as well. So I do think it is very likely that Splatoon will get something eventually. But the bigger question here is just when. Because yeah, Nintendo doesn't do so many spin-offs so much anymore. They more focus on like the main series stuff for their games. Mario, of course, still getting some spin-offs, but I don't see that many spin-offs being made now as they were like 5 years ago. We still get some like Warriors games that are made by Koei Tecmo. I think those have been proven to be really successful, and they are always fun to look forward to. We have had 2 Hyrule Warriors games, and now we're getting another Fire Emblem Warriors as well. So those could happen, and maybe Splatoon could get a Warriors treatment as well. Who knows? I don't think it would fit as well, but maybe. The thing is that I could see Nintendo doing like a Splatoon spin-off at the end of the Switch's life cycle, kind of like they did some spin-offs for the 3DS when the 3DS was going out. That's when like stuff like Hey Pikmin and I think Triforce Heroes came out. So it could be like that. We will have to wait and see how long the Switch goes and how the reception for the next console is. So Nintendo might want to still support the Switch in some way like they did for the 3DS, releasing some games for it, but nothing like that big, which could be like a really good time for a spin-off. If not the late Switch life cycle, then I could see something like mid next console, whatever they do. So that would be many, many years ahead, even like 5+ years ahead when we get a Splatoon spin off. And what I think is just if there's going to be a new console, what Nintendo would like to do first is, of course, like a main series a Splatoon game that would release on the new system because Splatoon has been proven to be a really successful franchise. The first game sold really well, despite it being on the Wii U, and the second game even better because now it's on the Switch. And some of the popularity we will have to see like how well Splatoon 3 sells. That might affect Nintendo's decision to make a spin-off out of Splatoon. But I do think it is very likely, but I wouldn't expect one anytime soon. But I do definitely think it is likely. So the more interesting thing here to discuss, I think, is just what kind of a spin-off would fit Splatoon. Now, it's depends, of course, like what kind of a platform you're gonna make it for. Is it gonna be a Switch? Is it gonna be like the next console after it? Is it gonna be a mobile game? I don't know. Nintendo has been kind of weird with mobile lately. They said they won't do anything, then they said they maybe might do anything. They were just like nah, and then they still released Pikmin Bloom. I don't know what's going on with Nintendo Mobile. But one thing I was thinking is that music is very integral to the world of Splatoon. So a Splatoon rhythm game would be very interesting. But this, of course, being Nintendo, just releasing a traditional rhythm game would be very non-Nintendo thing to do. So there would have to be like a cool gimmick to it. And the cool gimmick I thought about that would be very interesting for Splatoon is kind of to make every like every song kind of like a rap battle, battling against another opponent, like combining rhythm games with like a fighting game, perhaps. Like how many notes you get correctly, how correctly you get them, you deal more damage to the opponent's kind of damage, and they would have like a health bar in there, and then just they would like wrap it out. I think like rap is very integral to the time period of history that Splatoon is trying to imitate, so I think it would fit well. I think there is some squid rapping in Splatoon 2 as well, so it would be really cool to see. And then like the final boss could be like Pearl of the Off the Hook band. And it would also be nice to see if like Nintendo makes a Splatoon rhythm game to get like all of the songs from both games or all three games, and then just see like more of the band members. Because Splatoon has a lot of like different fictional bands, but most of what we know about those people who make the music apparently is just like an album cover or something. So it'd be nice to see all of those people like realized in 3D or at least a better 2D image of them. So it would be interesting. Of course, you would have characters like the Squid Sisters, Off the Hook, whoever is going to be the Splatoon 3 idol or idols. I don't know yet, but it would be interesting to see those people as well. And probably the story would be something like you're an up and coming inkling and you decided to go to music instead of like turf wars, and you would have to rap battle your way into fame or something. Very generic concept, but I think it would be fun. Then another thing I was thinking about as a Splatoon spin-off would be another thing really integral to the time period that Splatoon is kind of based on, the late 80s or even 90s, and maybe some 2000s sprinkled in there, but you get the vibe. And that would be skateboarding. And skateboarding is already represented in Splatoon with Black Belly Skate Park and maybe some other stage too. I'm not remembering correctly. Maybe there could be another skate park level, but skating is definitely a thing already in Splatoon. So I would love to see that in action and have like a Tony Hawk Pro Skater style game with a Splatoon twist. It will really fit the world well, and I think it could be made really unique if you would combine like the inking mechanic with skateboarding. And how this could be done is kind of combine the skateboard with like a surfboard, and all of the ink areas you could instead like do surfboards and like ride the waves and do all sorts of cool tricks that way. So it would be really interesting to see, and I think they could do like get really creative with how they use like the ink as like a terrain you can do tricks on, or you can travel, and then you would have like a little squid board or a skateboard surfboard combination squid board. It would be very interesting, and the main thing in the game would just be do a lot of tricks and have this kind of pseudo open world area where you could travel around, talk to people, do some missions. I haven't played Tony Hawk Pro Skater in a while, so I don't remember exactly what you do in the game. But it would be really fun to see a skating game for Splatoon. And then I think the most disappointing idea I have is just have a mobile game. I know people are not that into mobile. I think it's a fine platform, but and Nintendo also. I don't know what they're doing with mobile, but if they were to make a Splatoon mobile game, I would like to see Splatoon remade in 2D. I think it would be very interesting. Just have like a top-down Splatoon game. It could be very interesting to see, and I think there could be like some really interesting mechanics in there, and they could just like tune it to be kind of like a retro arcade machine in like Inkopolis that the squids are playing, or maybe even like phones exist in Splatoon already. So you would be like the hot new game, all of the Inklings would be playing. That would be like the low reason for that game existing. But I would think like 2D Splatoon would be really interesting, and there's a few Splatoon clones out there, but I have not seen any in 2D. So it'd be really interesting how that would like plan out, how that would go. Would it be as fun as in 3D? But I definitely do think a 2D Splatoon would be very interesting to see. Uh, and finally, the last idea I have is just have regular Splatoon, but like a fully open world, fully single player experience. Like make it a actual adventure. I love open world. I love the single player of Splatoon. They already have a great campaign. I just want to see them like expand that into like a full game that is like fully open world. And the thing I think about why this could work is that I think the best thing about Splatoon altogether is just like the movement, how you move around. And that is just it's fun. It's fun. Like the basic movement is so well realized and functions so well that I just want to see that movement style. Don't even change that much. Don't even change it that much, and you can just copy and paste it and make an open world around it. And I think it could be fun. You even have like already a fast travel option with the big squid jump. So you basically have your moving move set already for a fun open world game, and it would be really fun to discover all sorts of like secrets in like a Splatoon city or something, Inkopolis, whatever it was called. So I would love to see like a full adventure game, full action adventure game for Splatoon, and yeah, maybe even have some like warriors aspects there, so you can take down a lot of enemies at once. it could be really interesting and do loads of big splashes of ink. So I don't know. I think there are just so many possibilities for a great Splatoon spin-off, and I would just love to see them. And I just want to know these characters a bit more than Nintendo allows us at the moment and explore the cities. The cities are so cool. Like when I was playing Splatoon 1, I always wanted to go and wander off in Inkopolis, but I just had the dumb main plaza in there. I want to go explore these cities. The environments look so fun, and I would love to explore them. But yeah, that was all of it. Those were my thoughts on a Splatoon spin-off. What do you think? Would you be excited for a Splatoon spin-off, or do you just want like the main games? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.